adjust this thing. Yeah. Am I still bouncing? I'm actually still bouncing. So, welcome to another episode of Chronicles of a Kenyan Biker, Chronicles of a Kenyan Cyclist, and hopefully Chronicles of a guy on an ostrich. Yep. Cabinet Secretary, please just hand me out an ostrich named after me. I'll be happy. Anyway, good initiative there. You can get an animal named after you. I think it's in the endangered species list. So if you'd like a hyena named after you, go right ahead, Rhoda. Anyway, apologies. We have not recorded or produced or put out content in a while. Work and life just caught up. And yeah, I just took a backseat a little bit. And yeah, but anyway, we're here. We got some new content. And today's episode is about lane splitting or filtering or kupenya traffic because we're in Kenya. So kupenya traffic. No, that's a mouthful. I'll stick to lane splitting. Okay, straight to it. Definition of lane splitting. Yes, if you didn't know, it did have a definition, and Wikipedia courteously provided for us that definition, of which is lane splitting is riding a bicycle or motorcycle between lanes or rows of slow moving or stopped traffic moving in the same direction. Pretty straightforward. It is. It is. It actually does quite a lot of things. One most important thing is allows you to move through traffic because motorcycles and bicycles create lanes from existing ones, right? I think most people think that by making more roads is that you will ease up congestion. It's not. One of the ways to actually do it is to allow vehicles that can actually create lanes out of the existing ones and flow through traffic is a way of decreasing congestion, of which motorcycles and bicycles do. So, yay for motorcycles. If you haven't made the jump over, one of the reasons as to you should do so from a motor vehicle, a car, to a motorcycle or a bicycle is this: save on traffic. Anyway, another thing, it saves you quite a lot of time instead of sitting behind the traffic. You bypass traffic congestion, and then also it might be safer than stopping behind vehicles, of which happened to me, on which we'll play the clip. And yeah, you see what happened to me. But anyway, so a little points we found out when researching for this video. I didn't know. I've been riding for 7 years, and so many things I didn't know. I've had incidences with during lane splitting, some of which are very comical, mostly my fault, and a large portion of also drivers. And it just goes to show you that it takes quite a lot of experience to effectively and safely lane split. And I think Moto Jitsu says, or rather the riding school says, that the lane splitting or filtering should be for experienced riders. The reason is that it's multifaceted. Takes you about handling your bike, takes you about balancing on slow speeds and recognizing safety, judgment, and things like that. And those ones are usually built by experience, and that is spending a lot of time on the saddle or on the motorcycle seat. Okay, so that is interesting. And we've already mentioned the other things. I don't want to belabor that point on saving on congestion and saving time and safety. So some of the tips we found out doing the research and from my own experience is are this actually. One of the things we found out is that some of the tips that you could use for lane splitting is, one, just be courteous on the road. Okay, I'll start with that point because we see a lot of people riding the chips on the shoulders and having entitlement issues that I'm on a bicycle, I'm on a motorbike, I'm lane splitting, I'm filtering, you have to let me go through. That just makes everything terrible for everybody because the person will probably be pissed off that what you're doing, because most of the time is that you will end up manifesting that as a form of aggression. Okay, and usually with the exhaust. So you rev your engine and you really want to get through, and that usually pisses many people off, right? Because you have the same rights. If we're going to fight for equal rights for every road user, that is motorcyclists, cyclists, and vehicles, you have to do unto others as you'd expect them to do unto you. So one of the things we found out is that, and I found out, is that just be courteous. What I usually do when I'm lane splitting is, one, I flash my lights or I just toot the horn a little bit. I rarely ever rev the engine. I rarely ever. I stopped that habit and I've seen positive results. Yes, you don't get 100% all the time. Some people are just bad on the road. They're just mean. They just don't want to let you pass. But majority of the time when you're courteous, actually people give way for you. And if you convert one person at a time, eventually everybody, or rather a large part of the population, will start doing that and start respecting you on the road. Just don't do what some of the Boda guys do. is that they come and rev, 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 or other sport bike owners and big engine guys, they come and rev the engines right next to you. Look at me, I need to pass. No, it doesn't work like that. Guys actually get pissed off. Guys, quite a lot, quite more often than not, guys actually pissed off. So be courteous, be respectful, and they will respect you. That's what I believe in. Okay. Second thing we found out that could be a good tip is that you cover your levers. A very good tip. Cover your levers because you're moving slowly and you will probably need to brake or pull in your clutch when traffic suddenly stops. So it's a good idea to cover your levers. I'd want you guys to go and watch Wamuyu's video. I think I'll leave the link in the description. And she talks about the lane splitting and some of the dangers that on her commute, I think she mentioned Naivasha Road and Gong Road, and that one of the watchers or the viewers commented that you ride with your hand on the clutch and holding the clutch, and that's just a misnomer. It's covering the levers. In other words, is that in case traffic just suddenly stops, you just have to depress, and so you don't stop. So that's it. Educated your ass. Anyway, I joke. Another tip we found out was that you try and ride as smoothly as possible. Be gentle on the throttle. Ride smooth. Follow the traffic nicely. Try and stay a little bit faster than the traffic that is moving. And that brings me to another point, actually, just to add on to this one, is that you be smooth and you be within a safe speed. You don't have to lane split at like 100 kilometers per hour just to get through. No, no, no. For me, my cutout speed is about 30, 35 kilometers per hour with regards to the moving traffic. If I find traffic is moving above that speed, I will merge onto the road and occupy a lane position until it slows down. Because majority of the time in our country, the jam is just right up ahead. So there's no rush about getting in front of that other vehicle, and there's really no dangers. And that again brings us back to another issue of it being an activity that should be done by an experienced rider. So you need to practice this. You need to develop that judgment on when it's safe for you to do so and when not to do so. Okay, because it's very easy for you to get into a situation that is bad if you don't make the right judgment call, and especially when you're doing lane splitting. So that's something to remember. Well, another pro tip we found about, or rather found out about, geez, that was a mouthful, is that you should try your best to avoid long vehicles, especially when they're paralleling each other. That'll suck because if one swerves, then the space just reduces in size like very quickly. And again, that rolls on to so many points. You notice that all these points are actually quite interconnected in an interesting way. In that, one is that if you make a bad judgment call and you pass in between long vehicles, of which we see many boda guys doing, and I've seen many riders doing it as well. I've been responsible for it as well. I won't throw stones and not take some blame on my own. Is that it becomes very dangerous. As in, I think my heart is in my throat every time I've done that, and it's very dangerous because most long vehicles have very they have very many blind spots, and you being far back between them is just one of them. So they don't know if you're there, and they say that if it's loud pipes that save lives, but sound travels in all directions, like light. So if they can't see you, it kind of sucks. You can rev your engine as much as possible, you can hoot, but they will not know which side you are. So you try your best to avoid, and if you have to, you make sure you make yourself visible. Okay, that brings us to the lights and also the high vis wear, which is essential when you're doing lane splitting. Be seen. Okay. Another point we found out was that you use your turn signals. You use your turn signal. It actually helps quite a lot, especially when you're right in between the vehicles and the traffic starts moving, but you're moving slightly faster and the person starts accelerating. Most people believe that you're going to continue, but you probably want to merge and then you drive on. So use your turn signal. Also, you indicate your intentions. All right, it makes quite a bit of difference. I've seen guys trying to turn in, change lanes, but then they saw that there's a motorcycle lane splitting, and I was indicating, or rather, when they were trying to accelerate, and I was indicating, and they turned in, and they started accelerating, and they let me go through. And yeah, it saves quite a lot, and nobody hooted at each other. It's just that courtesy and courtesy. I indicated my intention, they understood my intention, they let me go through. See, again, the whole courtesy part comes in. You be courteous on the road and you'll be shown the same courtesy most times. Oh man, another thing we came about is that know your bicycle, know your motorcycle. Oh my goodness, this happened to me, and I will play it in the clip section. I just made a bad judgment call. There was one long vehicle, another SUV, and I misjudged the distance between the handlebars, and I ended up clipping the SUV's side mirror with my side mirror. But it was just hilarious. Everybody was understanding, no damage done. I just moved in the side mirror, and so that just goes boiled down. It's better it hits the side mirror than the handlebars, which will go take out the paintwork of the vehicle, and that is not going to go nicely. So again, the whole experience thing you have to practice, especially if you have multiple motorcycles, or like me, who uses a bicycle with an oversized handlebar and a motorbike with a narrow one. As in, sometimes I forget. Yeah, and I've hit side mirrors. Yeah, but luckily it's at slow speeds. See, and no harm done, nothing broken. Yeah, just sorry, sorry, and it goes on, which is cool. It's a nice way to end the day, even though you've had an interesting scenario, right? So, anyway, those are some of the tips we came about. There's so many. Remember, learning never ends. Keep learning, keep being open to learning. Take a course, refresh yourself. Like, I'm due for a refresher. Yeah, so I think I should do that. But I've been watching YouTube videos, and I keep learning. Learning never stops. Anyway, I guess let's play the clips and see what happens. The first one is, I guess, what do you call it? It's not that interesting, but it's just a highlight of how you look, or rather, how we do it when you're lane splitting. And so, this is a video of me lane splitting. You see, I use my turn signal quite a lot. I generally use my turn signal, and when I approach traffic that is stopped and slowing down, I drop my speed quite considerably to safe speeds, usually the 20, 25. And then again, with regards to the traffic and how fast it's moving, when it starts moving above those sides, I'm trying my best to merge, okay, of which you've seen right there. I didn't indicate, I'm sorry, I forgot. But anyway, once it gets to that 35, 30, 35, I usually merge, but then I use my turn signals quite often. And I do my best to go to the lane that has the least turn ins or offs. Okay? That's a very important point. Try and use a side that has the least number of turn ins or off, because those are the points whereby it's very easy for someone to swerve into you if they make a, because we've seen people on a two-lane traffic road and want to turn left, and they're on the wrong lane and actually do so. So I try and avoid those types. Like on this one, in that section, I would tend to go onto the other one and then filter onto all the way to the front, because it has more space and it feels a little bit safer. And so that's what I do. Another thing is that you'd want to be very cautious on the drivers or the vehicles in front, because once they slow down, you have to be very cautious. You watch the indicators and you watch the doors, because if you're going fast and somebody opens the door or throws something, that's going to land on your face. So you have to be very cautious. And so that one tip I could tell you from amongst the other ones that I've been babbling about is that you choose your lanes very cautiously. I won't use the American type of thing because they have multi-lane freeways, 6 lanes, of which we don't have here yet. I'm being positive. Anyway, but you choose the lane that has the least turn-offs and turn-ins, because those are the ones where most likely you will get away with it. Okay, that's one tip that I found out I forgot to mention a little bit earlier. Now, another clip of me, yep, is again lane splitting. This traffic speeded up a little bit. Then as it slows down again, I bang into the middle road, middle lane, and I try and drop my speed quite considerably. And then now I'm making judgment calls. Now I'm known, like, here is a bit dodgy. I'll slow down and make myself known. My intentions aren't lane split, and then I'll pass through the traffic, weave in and out gently, not aggressively. Don't do it like the border guys, because that usually lands them into quite a lot of problems and get a lot of flack, especially negative directed flack, and they tend to generalize. So you just make yourself nice and smooth, weave in and out carefully, but try and stick to that center lane as much as possible, because it makes it predictable also for the driver. They can see you, and I use my horn and just a little bit, but most of the time I am actually flashing my light just to make myself known, and it makes it very predictable. And yeah, again, this road you can't really avoid it, but I'm avoiding the hard shoulder on the left side, which most motorcyclists do, which is wrong. That is not a lane for motorcycles. And once traffic starts moving a bit faster, you just merge and life goes on. Okay, now you do come across some very interesting scenario. Like when I was lane splitting once, you find some interesting gentlemen who decide just to block the center lane for whatever reason. I think it's greed sometimes. They can't decide where to go. They want to join onto the lane which has the fastest moving traffic. There's a danger of you wanting to swerve onto the extreme right, like in this scenario, but that usually is not a good idea because you can easily swerve back, and which can make your day just be terrible because that's what they do. And the gentleman in front clearly showed his indicating, and I flashed my lights because he changed lanes quite abruptly because he was overtaking the vehicle in front. But anyway, no harm, no foul done. Then now, one of the worst things that can happen to you when you're lane splitting is what happened to me, but it was just a small fender bender. And to be honest, I clocked her earlier on. I actually made a mental joke. It's an elderly lady. I was like, hey, that lady looks like a fossil and probably shouldn't be driving. But anyway, she rear-ended me. So anyway, let's play the clip and go see what happens. That's the Prado. Keep an eye on that Prado right there. I'm gonna stop the clip right there. Just keep an eye on that Prado. She's a bit old. She's wearing her nice little Sunday hat. Wearing a mask in the car by herself, windows rolled up. I was a bit concerned. I was a bit concerned. I'm sorry. I profiled her. I'm responsible for that profiling. Yeah, but it was a kind of a case in point. But anyway, let's go on. I clocked that Prado, and we went on. The traffic here is just sick. The Ngong Road section as you approach junction is crazy. There are no lane markings. The lanes become, I think, four, and I think they're meant to be three, so there's absolutely no space to lane split. I found guys going off-road, going on the hard shoulder on the left, going on the hard shoulder on the right, which is a very dangerous position to be because those are the normal bug outs for vehicles. So as the traffic was moving along just slowly, I could not, or rather my judgment call was not to lane split, but kind of in retrospect, you know how they say hindsight is 2020. I should have changed lanes when I got an opportunity like in this point, just right in front of that foresight vehicle. But again, I'm afraid of the emperors of the road. The emperors of the road being pro boxes. So I think I just muddled my thinking process and my judgment. But anyway, I was following traffic again, four lanes, which is meant to be three, and I decided just to hang around the vehicle behind the vehicle in front of me, and hopefully it'll thin out. I mean, it'll open up as we get to junction. And unfortunately, as in out of the blue, the lady just comes up from behind and just taps me. That was a bit scary because I have no bug out lines right there. She just taps me, and I'm like, okay, dude, come on. That is hella scary. I immediately realized I'm okay, I'm fine, and she was apologetic in her own way, but she kept on moving forward. And you see that she kept on moving forward, she kept on inching forward, and that really worried me a bit. I was pissed off. Because one of the things is that you should have seen me. I'm clearly right there, and I'm very visible. And I didn't have a bug out section because I tried moving forward, and that Nissan Sunny on the right of the screen had completely blocked the section which I could use as a bug out. And you see the road just keeps thinning in, and that makes it dangerous. So lane splitting usually makes it a bit safer for you in that you can get away from slow moving traffic and get yourself out of situations like this. And so that happened to me. Luckily, it was just an easy fender bender, and she was quite elderly, so I really can't hold it against her too much. I was pissed off because, yeah, what if she damaged my wife's bike? How would I answer that? I was like, babe, your bike is damaged. No. Anyway, I kid. Luckily, everybody was okay. Then the other one was an interesting one. I was lane splitting again in traffic, and I misjudged this section here, and I just went in and boop, I just tapped the side mirrors on the vehicle. I quickly stopped and apologized. I'm not one of those guys to speed off. I slowed down, stopped, backed up, and I was so apologetic. The lady was nice. The driver was also nice, cool, calm, and composed and all. And no harm done. She thought I hit the body, but it was the side mirror because you could clearly see it. And nothing happened. The already turned signal on the side mirror was broken, so she already was honest about that. So there's nothing, and go on our merry way. And I guess, guys, that is it from me. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. And let me know in the comment section of your experience about lane splitting. Share with me some of your learning points and anything that you'd like to tell me about lane splitting, filtering, or kupenya traffic. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Apologies again for it taking so long to be produced, but it's finally here. And yeah, big shout out to Smoothtel Limited and Data Solutions. They are a fantastic company. They gave us some sponsorship in terms of support for this channel, and I want to wish them Big shout out. Check out their website. I'll leave the link in the description. We did have a product for us to showcase, but it was taken back to the shop because I took too long to make the video. But we will get it back. We'll get it back. And there are many other products like heating elements, internet solutions, you name it. And a big shout out to Dennis Kotikash. Dennis Kotikash is a fantastic dude. He works at Decathlon and he's a stand-up guy. He, on the other page whereby we do cycling-related items, is the one who normally advises me on the gear I should get. He tells me, oh, dude, you should get this, you should get this. And his advice is pretty solid. And he's a nice stand-up guy. So big shout-out to Dennis Kotikash. Check out Decathlon. Decathlon has genuine stuff. I like the items from Decathlon, most of them. I got a nice Triban gear, which matches my road bike, which is cool. And I did a ride to Wote, Makweni. It was fun. Coming back, 1300 meters of climbing in 7 kilometers. That was hella fun. Jelly legs at the end. But anyway, today's episode is pretty much about motorcycles and lane splitting. And that is it from me, guys. I guess, bye.